Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you today with the new Teen Titans issue 40. The print date on this was February 1984. And this comic, it was such a pain in the ass to find, but I'm glad to finally have the Prelude and all the books to the Judas contract in my collection. So I said, why don't we start with the first Prelude? And this book has spawned so many other iterations that I'm sure people have seen, like the Judas contract movie. Of course, these are the books that inspired that, as well as the bastardized version in the Titans TV show, which I'm going to talk about in this because me and the Mrs. just recently started watching that again after like a year break, and I just hate how much they ruined this series. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I love the cover because it just explains everything that's going to happen without saying a whole lot. Now, the way the Prelude starts is the Titans are going after Brother Blood in Alaska. And God, I miss seeing this quality of artwork and comics on a weekly, monthly basis. You don't see this anymore. But then again, I was watching an interview, I think it was with George Perez, and he was talking about when they were working on this book, him and Marv Wolfman lived close enough to each other so that they would meet up and have coffee at a diner, and they just exchange ideas. And when they were doing the Judas contract and they were talking about killing off a certain character, he was talking about how people must have looked at them insane, talking about the plot and the murder of a young individual. So it is what it is what it is, and it made for one of these landmark series that is just stood this test of time and is always going to be talked about. I mean, look at this. Oh my God, I would love to find just like a poster of this without the dialogue. But oh my God, this is the Titans that I know. I hate that in the TV show, I don't like how, because in the TV show, not the TV show, in the original comics, no matter how bad things got, Donna and Corey were always the heart of the team and trying to uplift and build everyone up. And I hate in the TV show that Donna is the super cynical winch, which I get for the sake of TV because Garth Aqualad dies. It makes sense, but still, that's not Donna's character. The same with Corey. I mean, I know she has a lot of emotional baggage being exiled from her home and then having the murder sister Blackfire. But still, she's always very hopeful and cheery. And the character in the Titans, again, she's just like with Donna, just very dark and cynical, and it just doesn't make for it. And I hate also that every time that they do a lot of the Teen Titans, they always omit Vic. I know that he's been promoted up to the Justice League in the comics, which is cool, but damn it, I would love to see him in a live-action Titans. That's why I'm glad that at least in the Teen Titans, I will not talk about Teen Titans Go. I hate that show. But the Teen Titans that they did, which was kind of goofy, but it was still kind of dark, I'm glad that they kept a majority of the original characters, and they, for the most part, felt the way they're supposed to. Anyway, that aside, let's talk about who made this book. This is Marv Wolfman writing, and then co-plotting, as I just said, was George Perez, and Perez doing the artwork. Inks by Romero Tinghal. Colors, I'm probably going to bastardize this name, and I apologize, Adrienne Roy. The letter was Ben Oda, and the editor was Lynn Wayne. So that all-star powerhouse cast on this book, and just love the splash page. Now listen to how Wolfman just sets this up. So as I said, they're going after Blood. We're just going to go with that. You're not going to be hurt much. Okay, guys, you know what's next. And then boom. Sometimes the wise man knoweth when to shut up. Or in other words, this pick is definitely worth 1,000 words. And it just kind of feels like I just spouted 1,000 words just going over this one page. Damn, gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. Moving along, great build up, because what happens is, and this goes back to me talking about the interview with Chris Claremont. As I said, go watch Chris Claremont's X-Men. But he said the reason that the people loved the X-Men, and the reason that they worked is because you care about their lives. And then everything else, like the outer space shenanigans, the action, that's just the cherry on top. Same here. I love that the book starts with all this gorgeous action that's very remnant of Jack Kirby. I mean, just look at all the individual line work. Let's keep in mind now, this is 1984. Digital art was not really a thing yet. So, hand colored, hand drawn, hand inked. Oh, it just doesn't get any better than that. Now, going back, I sometimes go on an anecdote and I forget what I'm going to go at, but it starts with all the action. And while this is happening, you can watch anything with action. If there's no plot or depth of character, who gives a shit? But here, you could tell that the Titans have a rapport. Cyborg, man, I hope you're right about this short pants, meaning Robin because of the original Robin uniform. And then Tara, quit bellyache and Rusty. We just have fun smashing them up. We haven't kicked any good butts in weeks. And you can see how they just call each other by these pet names for one another. They may look like Soldier Cyborg, but they're definitely not. And then Donna's kind of more serious one, so let's not go around here. But you can see how they care about one another. And because we know these characters more in depth, like for example, when Tara was introduced, we find out the tragic story of like the rough life that she had and why she kind of has a little bit of the sympathy card in joining the Titans. So again, that's why when she was brought in, you cared about her. But spoiler alerts, again, this book's decades old. We really know what the MO of Tara Markov is. Speaking of, if you've never read this book or the collected trade, spoilers abound. So if you have not read this, either try to get these individual issues, which I promise if you are a Batman, Justice League, Titan fanatic, this is something that you want in your collection. Now moving on, the Titans get captured, but because they have such a tight rapport and they're almost like family, they know a way around Brother Blood's trap. And Robin even says, we're doing what we did against Trigun back in issue 6. So again, they know how to work with one another and they're able to get out of this trap. But the question that remains, and we will go over the rest of the books, did they really defeat Brother Blood? Did they really find out his master plan? Because it really starts to get into like politics and whatnot here in a second. And not in like preachy or in your face way, but I'm talking about like political corruption. Now let's set that aside for a second. Tara's only been part of the team for, I think she came in around 24, 26, something like that. And this is issue 30. So not a whole lot, but listen to what she says here. She's standing there. She goes, well, if it weren't for me, you'd be daisy fertilizer. So why do I still feel like I'm an outsider? And I don't mean like my brother, Geoforce. So again, if you guys know about Geoforce, he was part of Batman and the Outsiders. This is his half-sister, Tara. So, relationship there. And then Wally's like, the kid has a point. She's good, and she's one of us. But as that's said, now, one thing pay attention to in terms of visual storytelling. Look at the way her face is drawn here, where it's more kiddish and friendly to a degree. That's why I think Wolfman said that's why they kind of gave her sort of the more buck teeth, not buck teeth, but like beaver type teeth, is to kind of make her have like that more button nose type look. But listen to how she's been kind of not rusty, but gruff with the team because they try to just, write it off to her living on the streets and being an orphan, yeah. But just listen to the depth of what happens here. It was sickening. Robin was cooing over Balloon Bond like some stupid lovesick kid. Cyborg had to recharge his cells because all he was good for was the scrap heap. And Raven, pal, you better watch that girl. She could be dangerous. She suddenly went weak in the knees from Kieran Starry and the robot. And you're thinking, what the hell is all this? Because you're seeing all these black and white grainy images. And this is where they, in kind of a, flashback, talk about what happened after they defeated Blood. And this is where I was talking about they find all this political corruption where Blood was trying to push people into points of power. It says campaign posters for the upcoming collections. I didn't believe Bethany Snow actually turned against Brother Blood, but I guess she has. And I like how, as we're watching this recording, the art team here made it a point to change the dialogue boxes so we know who's who when they're talking. Now, again, I love how this segues. We start seeing all this smoke. And this is where we find that Tara is teaming up with Deathstroke, the Terminator. She goes, like I said, all those bozos do is gab. They're like a bunch of little ladies. You could take them easy. Don't be so certain of that, my dear. Respect your foes and never underestimate them. We've fought several times and they're quite good. The Terminator smiles. His plans are progressing quite well. And just see how the dialogue and the visual storytelling, how everything just feels organic and just moves. And then here, boom. Now, Wolfman and Perez said that they purposely made sure that Tara looked more like a hussy when she was with the Terminator to show this duality about her. So we'll talk more about that here in a second, but I really wanted to point that out. But the one thing that creeps me the shit out is I was looking up her backstory, and apparently she was born in 1968. In this series, it's 1984, so she's only 16. Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but just know that that's just really freaking creepy. Anyway, but look at how the facial expressions change, and then they said that they purposely made her smoke to make her look more evil. Now, with that out of the way, I like how Slade, you essentially find out that he's manipulating her, but still it is creepy. And you see how powerful Tara really is. And it pushes Deathstroke to his limits. He goes, he's just kind of dodging her. And he goes, no, I didn't hear anything. No sense of movement, no shifting of the earth. How did you do that, Tara? How powerful are you? So Slade kind of realizes here that he's bitten off more than he can chew. Now, the two biggest important parts of this book, other than the reveal of Tara Markov, Wally West is leaving the Titans. But as Wally's getting ready to leave, he does, to a degree, get upstaged by Dick Grayson. Because he says, I'm giving up being Robin. And I like how the art team here, just this lineup of just shock and awe. And again, this is the prelude to the Judas contract. And this is why the Titan TV show pissed me off so much, is because they just blew through Jericho. They blew through Slade. They blew through Brother Blood, as well as Raven's father, Trigon. It just, everything felt rushed. And I just feel like Jeff Johns, knowing these characters, would have stepped back and been like, whoa, we are throwing too much too quick and we're flying through it. But again, it's probably out of his hands. But yeah, the Judas contract, what they kind of did in the TV show, it pretty much just screws all of season 2. And I'm having a hard time trying to get through it. And the same with Superboy, which I don't even want to start getting into Connor Kent, how much they just really underutilized him. I'll talk about that in another video over on our After Dark channel because I have ideas for that. Moving on. Perez said in the interview, too, that the reason that they gave up Dick Grayson being Robin is DC said that they wanted Batman to have another Robin. So that's when they were getting ready to introduce Jason Todd. So what they did is they're like, okay, well, there's the outfit. We'll figure out something with Dick Grayson. But instead of being snide or, snotty or spiteful about having to do this, they did a great job writing it into the story. Dick says, I should have told you, Corey, I'm sorry, but this is something I've got to do. You belong with us. Please change your mind. I can't. Don't you see? Robin will always be the back half of Batman. And Robin belongs with Batman, fighting at his side. The trouble is, I don't. And so this is where he's saying, I'm not quitting the Titans, but I'm quitting being Robin. So until I figure out who I'm going to be, I'm just going to be Dick Grayson. And it's just a wonderful way that is expressed. And he just basically starts taking off his Robin uniform. He's like, I can't be Robin anymore. I have to become someone, an adult, whoever Dick Grayson decides to be. And of course, they kind of start to show Tara's true nature. And she's like, ooh, take it all off. And I like how Dick's just like, thanks, Tara, but I'm only stripping away my identity, not my clothes. This isn't cable TV. So even though this is kind of a sad, bittersweetness, at least there's some comedy to kind of give you some levity after all this heaviness that's thrown at you in this issue. And I don't think Wolfman or Perez had any idea or plans or machinations of what's going to happen with Jason Todd. But listen to this. He goes, Costume, you and I have gone through a lot together. I sure hope your new wearer doesn't abuse you as much as I did. Now, with all of us knowing Jason Todd when he was Robin, and what happens, sorry, Dick, but yeah, your uniform's about to go through some really hard times. Now, I don't want to give away any more. I really just wanted to point at the key factors. Now, one thing that I did skip over, it didn't occur to me until, of course, we get to the end of the review. Let me find it here in the book. When they're fighting against Brother Blood, Wally's talking about how he can sort of sense people's auras and having a feeling about people. Right here. He goes, these men are definitely evil. Their very essence is repulsive to me. And yet, why do I sense a truer evil elsewhere in this complex? Not giving nothing away there, just some great storytelling and foreshadowing for about what's about to come for all the Titans. So with that said, guys, this is why, again, just talk about the Titans TV show. And I do, the animated Judas Contract show, I wish that they would have added some more stuff, but nonetheless, they did a good job because in that series, Damien's part of the Titans, and then Dick's already Nightwing, and Corey's the leader of the Titans, and Dick's just kind of checking in on the team. It's an interesting, different take, but they did a good job on it. But I wish that it would have been more like a TV series, because just like a lot of major story arcs that get ruined, like the Dark Phoenix saga, you can't do one movie or la 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 la. You have to stretch it out, and that's why the Titans, again, going back, pisses me off, is they had a whole season. They could have taken their time, really started to introduce some of these plot points, and they shit the bed. That's all I got to say. With that said, if you guys have enjoyed what you've seen, please, first and foremost, support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to pick up your books. And if you have the ducats, get yourself an original copy. If not, this is the Judas Contract with the Prelude books, have been reprinted several times over. So if you can, get a collected trade version of that. And if you've enjoyed the review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Titan bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.